Hi, Brandi. Welcome to the Book Dragon.
Hello.
Hi, and we're here with us today to talk about your book, The Gate, which is the first installment in the Immortal Coil saga.
Yes.
Yeah, and we've got some questions to ask you today. So
Okay, great.
going to begin by asking, did you grow up in a book lover's household?
I think that's an understatement. We had books everywhere. We lived out in the country on a ranch, and my mother was well read. She wrote poetry. She read all the time, and she and I were stuck at home by ourselves a lot while my dad was
Mhm.
working. And she taught me to read very young. And she was a huge fan of poetry, and she was reading me Samuel Taylor Coleridge, like The Rime of the Ancient Mariner, when I was in the third grade,
Oh,
and
wow.
Christabel and all of that kind of stuff. She was feeding me Victoria Holt novels, and she's the reason I got into Mary Stewart and all the Arthurian legend books and that kind of thing. My parents are both big science fiction fans,
Right.
and so that got me into that as well. So yes, yeah, absolutely yes.
Yeah, a definite yes on that one.
Oh yes.
So when did you first know you wanted to be a writer?
I thought about this before, and I know a lot of people say, "Oh, I've always known," and yeah, I've always liked to tell stories and think up stories. I consider myself a maladaptive daydreamer. I'm always imagining myself doing things that aren't real. But I'm okay. Um, well, that's debatable. Um, I liked to tell stories, but it wasn't until middle school I had a teacher named Leila Meacham. She's a published author. She publishes historical fiction, and she had one book out called Ryan's Hand, which had won several awards. And I thought, oh my gosh, my teacher is like this writing god, and I'm
Mhm.
in her class, and I had written this page and a half quick write descriptive thing, and I was really proud of it. And when I got it back on the back, she had written, "You are a natural writer.
Oh,
This
wow.
is what you should do." And I've never forgotten that ever. And it was at that moment I thought maybe that's something I could do. I didn't go to college for it. I'm really not sure why. I didn't study it like I probably should have. I always just dabbled and dabbled and dabbled. But yeah, I think I always wanted to tell stories. I just wasn't sure how I was going to do it until I
Mhm.
think I got that note from her. And then I thought, okay, well, this is maybe what I'm going to do.
And is she aware of what an impact she had on you?
Yes. When I first got to the point where we were going to this poor book has gone through so many trials and tribulations, you just don't even know. But at one point I had emailed her and said, guess what? I took your advice. I'm gonna do it. And I was like, I don't know if you remember me. And her reply just made me cry because she said, "Oh, I remember you. Cute little blonde, third row from the left, back against the wall." And I was like, okay, you remember.
Oh, you obviously made an impact on her too.
Yeah, so she was very proud and was like, please don't send me a copy. Let me know where I can buy it to support you and all of
Wow.
that. It was really sweet. It was
She's,
wonderful. So yeah, she's totally aware.
yeah, that's lovely.
It is.
So what inspired you for the setting of the gate?
Um, the setting. Oddly enough, I just moved about a month ago and I was going through some boxes, and I didn't realize it, but in high school I had started writing a story and apparently had already created Karth and King Laston, like when I was 17, and it kind of drifted away. So it's always been in my head. The setting itself. I'm a big dimension travel. I think that's why I like Norse mythology and Thor and all of that so much. The Bifrost and Idrisil and all the different realms, and I'm really into that dimension kind of thing. And I wanted a world that wasn't here because I am 100% an escapist, and I didn't want to write about anything that was here. I wanted to write about something completely not here. And it frustrates me too because a lot of my family will go, "Oh, so this was set in medieval times." I'm like, "No, this wasn't here." People don't get it. But yeah, I don't know. I think it's just been this place that's been in the back of my head for a very long time. And it just took me a while to figure out how to get there.
Oh, that's so interesting that you had the seeds all the way back then. Yeah.
I know. I didn't even remember it. I'm looking in a
Yeah.
notebook and I'm like, wait a minute. hang on. So yeah, it's stuck.
So with Amarin, who's your main character in The Gate, you've created a
Mhm.
very strong female, and I was wondering if she was inspired by anyone in particular.
Amarin, I think at one of the query letters I had sent out way back when, I ended with this sentence that Amarin is in of herself a journey. Amarin started as sort of not, I'm going to say my alter ego, but
Mhm.
who I projected my escapist self to be. We had a lot of turmoil going on in our lives when I really started working on this book. And she was my safety net. She was
Um,
a projection of me, what I wished for myself. You know, I was immortal. I was a mom of three. My husband was going through a lot of trouble and issues. And I think it was my armor that I put
mhm.
on. And as it went on and on and on, she morphed, I think, and sort of became inspired by my husband. And she ended up being this weird amalgamation of the two of us. And kind of what I wanted to infuse into him and what I knew he already contained. And it got to the point where when I couldn't fan cast her, I couldn't go online and find somebody and go, oh, you should play Amarin, or,
Yeah.
you look just like, when I stopped being able to do that because she was her own person, all of the sort of inspiration behind her sort of sloughed off, and we were left with what was kind of born out of that. But
Mhm.
initially, she was kind of my escape. Then she became what I was shooting for my husband, and then she became herself.
Yeah. Oh, that's wonderful. So you obviously have an interest in dimension travel. I don't know if you're interested in time travel as well, but I was wondering if you could travel to any time period in this world, where would it be and why?
Okay, am I allowed to go forward?
Yeah, of course you are.
Okay, great. Because if it wasn't allowed to go forward, it would be like I would love to go back to the time when, or one of the times we feel the Arthurian legend happened, like that kind of time. That'd be great.
Yeah.
But if I can go forward, yeah, a good 250 years, because I really want to go to Mars, like really bad. So uh, I want to see where we get with space travel. That's hands down 100% where I would go.
That sounds very cool.
Yeah,
So, without giving too many spoilers, what can we look forward to in the next installment of the Immortal Coil Saga?
I'm terrible at this. Um, I'm so bad. I'm like, um, Amarin has a very pivotal moment at the end of the first book, and we have to follow her through her dealing with what has transpired. See, I'm
Mhm.
already mad at it. We get a good glimpse into the antagonist, or at least the antagonist from the first book. We start to really unravel her backstory,
Mhm.
and we open the world of Karth and extend it like threefold into the Stone Reaches, which is vast and huge. We see that culture. There's a whole other language with two dialects that I'm trying to write. Um, we open up into the island of Elise. We get a little more into the cultures and the histories of all of these different people. So the world kind of went from this to like this, and
So
we get to see a lot
expanded.
more. Yeah,
That sounds
and
exciting.
it is. It's big and scary, and wow, I did that to myself, and that's what I have to do. But yeah, we learn a lot more about every one of the characters, and it becomes less about Amryn and more about the world that she lives
Mhm.
in.
Well, that sounds amazing. I look forward to that.
Cross my fingers, I can do
Oh, you can.
it.
Oh, thank you for joining us here today, Brandy. And obviously, copies of your book, The Gate, are on sale at the Book Dragon. It's
Yes,
been a
and
pleasure
I
to
stuffed
talk
some
to you.
extra ones in my luggage.
Yes, bring some extra ones in your luggage.
Yes,
Yes, obviously you'll be joining us actually in person and such,
yes,
and so we're very looking forward to seeing you there.
me too. It'll be my first time over there. So
Excellent. Well, thank you for joining us, Brandi. It's been lovely to talk.
Likewise, thank you for having me.
Bye.